all of that said, I agree with Durbin. Yeshua's not cherry picking his laws here.
Yeah. I'm agreeing everything he's saying there.
I mean,
it's like
so far perfect.
Preach it.
But here's the thing: he's going to talk about kosher. Now, I assume that just like many others who have argued that this is ceremonial, that the kosher laws are ceremonial, I would argue that it's not ceremonial at all. I would argue that the kosher laws are actually moral laws, and the reason, if you want to put a class onto it, and once again, I don't think that we can do that. But the reason that I would try to, I mean, if somebody's going to say they're ceremonial, no, God says that that it's an abomination.
Yeah, and He created the animals.
Yeah, exactly. It's
these are His animals, and He owns them.
Right.
And He's saying, if you're going to eat meat, this is what is acceptable.
Right.
And this is what's not acceptable. And so for us to say, oh, there's no morality with that, that's God he's just being ceremonial there. That gets us into the Bible verses that the Bible doesn't say, that segment. I don't know.
And we're getting there. So this is one of the fun things that we did on our Facebook page that Rob is referencing. Let's listen to Durbin's last clip here. I got one last clip.
So you've set us up for now he's going to throw a curveball. Right?
Once again, I want to remind everyone, this is a continuous clip, and we have essentially, except for the idea of chopping the Torah laws up into civil, ceremonial, and moral, we've essentially agreed 100% with Durbin. He's right on track, both with his Matthew 5:17 and with this last thing that he talks about the new covenant, right?
Are there things in God's law in the Old Testament that we are not to observe today? Yes. If you are erecting the dietary restrictions of the Old Testament law, you are in big H heresy. Big H. If you are erecting symbols and pictures and anything in the Old Testament that was pointing to Jesus that was meant to fade away, dietary restriction, dress code, all those things, if you are erecting that is dangerous. However, the law of God is assumed throughout the new covenant, and in this instance, Jesus tells us through the life of the church, how are you supposed to actually employ this issue of sanctification and working together to grow and to heal in church discipline. What does he do? He assumes God's judicial standards of this. You don't accept a charge against anybody.
Okay, so there's so much that could be said about this. There's other ministries within the Messianic and Hebrew roots realm, right, that have tried to do this, okay? They've tried, and lots of them actually, right? These laws are only for the Jews, or these laws are done away with and we no longer have to keep them, or whatever it may be. And even discussing with Walter Kaiser, Dr. Walter Kaiser at the SBL, the question continues to come up. Give me a list. Now, there's many lists that we could say. Give me a list of what's Jewish and not Jewish in the scriptures. Give me a list of, and he says, if you're trying to resurrect laws that point to Christ, every law in the Torah points to Christ. Every single one of them. Not cheating on your wife. Right? What is this a picture of? The Messiah and his ecclesia. Right? You're going to tell me that now I can cheat on my wife because it pointed to Christ and now that's done away with? Nonsense. Give me the list of the laws that have that were meant to pass away and do away with. Give me a list of the laws that are assumed into the new covenant but not assumed into the new covenant. And give me a list of the laws that Yeshua in Matthew 5:17.
Here's a way to think of it, Caleb. If you had this teacher and then was it Andy Stanley who said that Christians need to unhitch themselves from the Old Testament?
Right.
How would those guys, if those guys discuss this, where would would they come to common ground, do you think? Because that's kind of what I hear you getting at. It's like, or would they end up going, look, we actually are looking at this differently?
I think that what Durbin is going to try to say is, we need to get rid of the ceremonial laws. The temple has, and once again, and this is also a really interesting question that I'd love to ask.
We didn't get rid of that. God got rid of that. Right? God took, and for a reason.
But that's the point, is that he brings it back, right? Is Durbin going to say that there's not a third temple? Is Durbin going to say that we don't see the sacrifice in Ezekiel, sin sacrifice in Ezekiel after the Messiah comes back and the prince administers it? Is he going to say, or is this all allegory? Or is he going to say that in Zechariah 14, where it says all the nations are going to go celebrate the festival of Sukkot, that they're not going to sacrifice in the temple, that they're going to? Egypt doesn't go, and what happens? God sends a plague. Is this all allegory as well? And at what point does God stray from the allegory? Don't miss any clips from Messiah Matters by clicking the subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share it so other people can see it too.